welcome back to the channel. Today I'm here to talk to you about how to make your living room space glamorous. So this is a orangery at our Kingsbury House project. Now we've not dressed this as a traditional orangery. If we had, we'd be full of plants, which we have got a few, but we would be full of them if it was a traditional orangery. Instead, we've got a few little bits that are reminiscent of an orangery. For example, we've got a ceiling fan for when it gets super hot because of all the glazing and the sun coming in. We do have a few plants, but actually the clients wanted to use this as a bit more of a cozy living space in order to use it for their family and friends when they're entertaining. It transitions into their kitchen. So let's take you through some of these details. So I really have tried to think about every detail when it came to designing this space. We wanted it to be really different, so we've curved the wall here in order to create a much softer end to the end of this TV unit. We didn't want it to feel like a traditional cabinetry TV unit. We wanted it to feel like it's always been in the space, that it's been here forever, but by being an extension, this is quite a rectangular space. So to soften those harsh edges, to put in curves where you can, is an amazing addition. We've then thought about where the TV was going to be homed. Although, funny moment, this TV wasn't not meant to be this big, but the client last minute went out and ordered a much bigger TV. So you can imagine how shocked I was when he came home with a TV that was twice as big as it was meant to be. Thank God it actually still fits. And what I love about this detail is we've done the curved edge at the top here, and we've done an LED light that comes down and glows from this little gap that we've created. So these little gaps that we've put in allow the space to breathe, but then you can really exaggerate this lovely reeded wood. You can see the reeded walnut that we've introduced, and that walnut is then pocketed in different areas throughout the TV wall, but also throughout the house. So the nice thing is that it's not just this room that we've got walnut throughout the home. So it really flows and has a level of elegance. Walnut's a really rich wood because you see the grain of the wood, and where it's been stained, you can see the different colorings. It does mean that sometimes you will have different parts of the walnut that would show different types of the grain. So here you can see there's a bit more of a story to it. Here it's a bit more linear. So you have to be okay with the fact that it's not always going to be the same. But I quite like that it's not always the same. It creates that character and that detail. So what has then helped make this space really glamorous, mixing with the organic finish, is this tactile finish, which is a Moroccan plaster. And tactile is incredibly beautiful because it's got a soft sheen. So that soft sheen you see reflecting in the light in certain areas, especially on this curved wall. I can't stop touching this curved wall, it's just beautiful. It feels really smooth, but that sheen definitely reflects, and that's where we get a bit of the glamour. We wouldn't want too much of that sheen because then it can look a little bit too shiny, but it's the perfect balance in this space because the sunlight will come in, it bounces off the wall, you get an element of the sheen but equal a real softness to the finish. And we've even put the tactile into all of these little alcoves. So these alcoves have been made again to make it feel really original. You're not going to walk into a brand new extension and see this quite often. This is really individual to the space, so it feels like it's always been there. It's got an element of character, it's homely, it's dressed so that it feels really inviting, but it's also a room where kids are. So this room, we've got the children's play area within it. There is a plan in the future to actually hang an egg chair from the corner of this orangery and to be able to bring in more plants. But while the children are young, we've adapted a new baby on the way, and we've created a lovely little area for the children to play. And that's what's quite nice about this space, is it's really versatile yet glamorous. The lighting is key here. It's all on a lighting system that's all dimmable. I've got LED light hidden in the little alcove there, and I've got LED in all of these alcoves here. Tiny little spotlights. Very sleek because they give a really poignant light into the alcove. I've also got LED lighting underneath all of these shelves. So then coming around into the room, we've wanted to make sure that this is usable for children. So you can run around if you want to. I feel like running around the coffee tables now. So we've layered the coffee tables. You can move around them really easily. They're really well dressed. Obviously not lit candles when the children are around, but that again gives it an element of glamour, is that you can have this room for the everyday living, but it can also have the candles lit when you're entertaining. So the ceiling fan is lovely because this does get warm. But the nice thing about the ceiling fan is you can switch it on and it will cool the room. There is a light within this as well, so it's a really lovely feature. Again, it's the walnut. It's just such a beautiful wood walnut. I love using it. And we've then got obviously the lovely sofa. We've got the coffee table, which is a travertine, which is a beautiful stone. We've also got then the limestone floor, which is beautiful because it is rich in its character, but it's light, so it's not overwhelming for the space. especially when I've got so many different textures and finishes. The limestone is quite complementary and it's not overwhelming. And then we've dressed it with lots of plants, and I think the greenery really helps in a terms of glamour. We've got voile curtains in this space. We don't always use voile curtains, but the nice thing about the voile in here is it lets the light in, but it also gives you a little bit of shade if you want it, and it just dresses the space in a very light and airy way. And again, there is an element of glamour in voile because the way they fall, it's very beautiful and elegant. So for the doors, they wanted to have a very slimline crittle. Crittle is a very difficult one to work with because it's everywhere, but you need to make sure you get the right slimline profile. So these doors are a really great feature because they've got the astragal bars that run across. So they also help lend to that sort of slimline look because it's a slimline bar. And they're a lovely feature in order to make the space feel a little bit more contemporary. We also rendered the outside of the orangery, so it's got lots of organic contrast with then those more modern finishes like the crittle doors. So these are really special. How could I forget our own bespoke collection? So these are designed by us, and these doors are a slimline oak, all finished in a really subtle lime washed wood. So these are a stained oak, and the stained oak is complementary to most colour schemes. They're very neutral, but they're warm. You still see the wood grain, and they've got these beautiful, beautiful brass handles. So you get the dark bronze with a bit of the brass coming through. They feel good in your hand, which is really important. I get laughed at by a lot of my clients because I come in with these samples and go, try it in your hand and feel it. And they're like, what are you talking about? But it's true. It's so important to make sure that you feel it in your hand and it feels good to use. So these feel nice to open and they feel nice to shut. They're actually incredibly soundproof for how slimline they are. But the best thing of all is that you can see through them. So glazed doors are really lovely in a house because you can see from room to room. So that transition is really lovely. I'm a big believer that a house should flow. That's how it feels inviting. That's how it feels homely. That's how it makes you feel good. You're meant to feel great in your home. So if each area is well thought through and it flows through, then it's perfect. You've nailed it. And if you can see it through the glass doors, even better. Come to think of it, we are quite often asked how to dress a TV unit, an alcove, shelving in a space within your home. So my staples would be, I love amber candlesticks because the glass you see through, there's an element of reflection. They give that feel of glamour. So I would look for amber bronze candlesticks because the glass is just beautiful. These are crackled actually, and they're from nook. They're lovely. I do always try and get some sort of ornament, whether it be a knot, it could be anything to be honest, a vase, it could be a sculptured piece, but I do like to have an ornament. Then the trailing plants are really lovely because the greenery is a huge contrast. So I would try and bring in the plant where you can. Books are lovely because they scream home. You do have books at home. This is a space where somebody would pick up a book and read. So it is really nice to dress with books. The limestone balls are really lovely in the limestone vase. So I think, yeah, an element of just mixing all these up. The greenery with the bronze is really special. Here's one of another sculptures here. And if you're not sure, then I would just buy loads of stuff and try it. Have a play with it, try with some photo frames, and then you can always take back what you don't use. We tend to bring a van and we end up trying everything, and then you would laugh if you saw our install days. We take everything away afterwards, but we leave the best. And it just allows us to make sure it's right.